reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
You're logging into your favorite game, grinding out some gear. A couple of points added to your stats, and you have a virtual beer. Max level is pretty cool, but I'll remind you here, my friend. These games are not about the goal, it's about the journey and not the end.
You're listening to MMO Reporter, brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/MMO Reporter. And by Doghouse Systems. Choose your weapon with Doghouse Systems.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of MMO Reporter. This is episode 238. This is a very special episode where we are going to talk nothing but BlizzCon, because this year we had a couple of people there, which is fantastic. Now, I have someone who cried to himself to sleep every night the last few nights because he did not get to go to BlizzCon. Hello, Bill.
So if my microphone shorts out part of the way, it's just the tears flowing still, you know. I've gotten the racking sobs under control, but
And the dirty, dirty bastard who did get to go to Anaheim and hang out with the wonderful folks at Blizzard, Mr. Josh Augustine himself. Hello, Josh.
Your tears sustain me. Hello.
Now, how many times? Now, you've been to BlizzCon before, right, Josh?
Yeah, I was trying to remember how many times. It's either 4 or 5.
Wow.
It's hard to remember.
Now, the thing is, the first time you went and you saw that mass of people, did you think the Illidan, you are not prepared, as you walked into the hall?
Oh, yeah. Dude, it's intimidating the first time. It's huge.
And how many people... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I brought a friend with me this time who helped me set up all the camera and do all that sort of work, and he'd never been before. And it's funny because as we're driving through, like, we get to the parking lot, he's like, wow, look at all these cars. And then we get inside, he's like, wow, look at all the people in those line. Wow, look at all those lights. Oh, look at all the people. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger, and he's just blowing his mind over and over again.
Wow. Now, how many people attend BlizzCon? Because I only have PAX as my reference, right?
So they didn't give an official number this year, and I was trying to find it. We were hoping they were going to say it, so anything I guess would be wild speculation. I need to look it up. It's got to be thousands and thousands of people.
Okay, let's go by feel. Let's go by feel. You've been to both. You went to PAX once, right? Or was it twice?
I went to PAX Prime once.
Right.
That was it.
Okay, so feel-wise, which one felt more cramped, busier, fuller, more people-packed?
keeping in mind that MMO Reporter totally hangs its hat on baseless speculation, so feel free.
All right. In that case, so it's tough because PAX has a lot of small rooms. So PAX, every room felt really crowded, but it wasn't like a big area.
Yeah.
So if I had to guess, I would guess it's got to be less than PAX.
And the other thing about BlizzCon is that BlizzCon doesn't have like a show floor of vendors, or does it?
It sort of does. So the way it's set up is there's basically 3 giant halls connected to each other. And the back half of those halls is stages. Well, one of the halls is just the main stage, and that's it.
Okay.
But the other ones, the back half is like the Hearthstone stage.
Right.
And then the front half of that is a mix of demo stations to play whatever the new Hearthstone thing is.
Right.
And vendor booths. But there's maybe like 6 vendor booths at the whole thing. They're just really big and fancy because it's like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Intel, Roswell, like that was it.
So there's no indie mega booth sort of thing.
No. That would be kind of cool.
Yeah.
So here you go. I got numbers for you.
Okay.
So not this year.
Yeah.
Because they haven't put it on here yet. But for the last 5 years, it's been 26,000 people.
Wow.
So it's got to be close to that again.
I would think as a 2-day event, too, more people are likely to attend both days, right? When you buy a BlizzCon pass, you get the whole pass. You don't buy it by the day, right?
Correct. Yeah. And it'd be pretty silly to come for one day. Although, I mean, all the big announcements happen on Friday, so if that's all you care about, okay. Right. But Saturday, like, all the esports tournaments were happening, all the demo stations were open.
Yeah.
So many people were there both days.
Wow. Well, yeah, and that's the thing. PAX is, they say 70,000 people, but that's over the course of 4 days. Some people buy one-day passes. A large portion attend for a majority of it, but...
Yeah, although for the first time this year, there was a big unofficial convention happening the night before.
Oh, really?
So BlizzCon, yeah, so it's called Con Before the Storm, and it's hosted. It's really cool. It's hosted by just a community group. I can't remember which one. But they put together, and it was, I think, from like 4 p.m. to like 10 p.m. It was like a decent length with like 5 different stages and a bunch of guests and panels and stuff.
Yeah,
it was pretty crazy.
Wow. That just, it sounds like an absolute blast. Now, did you happen to run into the guys from Lorehound? You just need to look for the suit jacket and the beard.
I don't think so. I must have missed them.
There's the story is with them, Patrick from Lorehound and Jeremy. When we go to PAX, whichever PAX it is, PAX East or PAX Prime, we always 100% of the time will book a demo either at the same time, or he's first and I'm second, or I'm first and he's second, and we run into each other in the middle of 70,000 people, right?
Wow.
So yeah, it's
I probably like actually brushed elbows with him and just didn't notice at the time.
And did you manage to even say hello to Harry Hall, because he was there for us as well?
No, I didn't. So I feel really bad. I know, like, I got home and I realized that I actually forgot to meet with one of my like best friends in the industry. Like, I just totally forgot. And I got home, and just this morning I just sent him a text message to like apologize and make sure we're still friends, because I just totally blanked.
That's funny.
It sounds like a terrible thing when you're talking about it now, but it totally happens. Like I think almost every year that I've gone to PAX, I've had people from town or people that I work with that also went to PAX, and if we texted each other once during the entire weekend, it just that was amazing. So no, I feel that pain for sure.
Thank you, Bill. I feel a little better now.
Yeah.
All right.
I forgive you.
Let's get,
because that's what you were looking for.
Gotta have that forgiveness. Let's get into some of the news that came out of BlizzCon 2015. We are going to pick your brain, Josh. It will hurt. I'm not sorry. We need this information. We are going to start with your speciality, and that is, of course, Hearthstone.
Yeah.
So they announced something at this fantastic BlizzCon. Yeah. What was that?
So actually, can I tell you a quick secret first?
Okay.
I have literally told no one else this.
Oh.
Before the opening ceremony, they opened it up, and you could kind of walk around the floor, and you could go by the demo stations, but all the demo stations were roped off and closed and stuff, so you couldn't see what they're going to show off. But one of the computers actually had the survey up for like, hey, what did you think of? And it said the League of Explorers Adventure. And it was me and Nick, my friend that went with me. We were walking around and we looked at it, and we just looked at each other, and we're just like, we should probably tell somebody. And like, we looked around, but there were no Blizzard employees. And so we're like, okay, don't say anything. Don't take pictures. Like, don't do anything. Like, let's just walk away. Pretend this never happened. But it's so fun because the whole time, like, when they were getting ready to announce it, we'd just look at each other. We'd be like, we know what they're going to say. We know what they're going to say.
Should have shouted it out the minute. And we've got this new adventure called League of Explorers. From the back.
Yeah, that's a good way to get kicked out of the convention, I'm sure.
Security.
Yeah.
17th row.
Can you, like, I'm happy you didn't, but just for the sheer shock value of wanting to see these amazingly choreographed, rehearsed demonstrations and announcements that they make, man, I would have howled. Not that I would ever want you to do that, because that would be a bad thing, but it would have been funny.
See, Chris, maybe you're forgetting that I'm also a game developer.
Yeah.
So I know the pain that would cause and the amount of people that would get in trouble. So I didn't get anywhere near that. No way.
As you're put into a back room at the convention center in Anaheim, you've got a bright light in your face. Where did you see the name? Give us your source. Anyways, so League of Explorers. What the bleep is League of Explorers?
Yeah, so it's a new adventure, which is the PvE kind of raid dungeons that they put into the game. They've done a couple of those so far, like Naxxramas and Blackrock Mountain. League of Explorers is a new one. It's based around Bran Bronzebeard, who's like the crazy dwarf in World of Warcraft that's always running ahead and tinkering with stuff you shouldn't touch and then setting off giant security systems in old ruins.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a series of 4 new wings, basically, of a dungeon. But it's cool because it's actually themed around characters this time. Because in the past, it's been like Naxxramas. So it's like, okay, it's the raid and it's all the raid bosses. But this is about this like group of 4 adventurers who have these really cool personalities and how they clash. And the one time we've got to play it so far, like the characters are talking to each other back and forth while you're playing. It feels very story driven. It's very cool.
Cool. Now, do you play as the characters in the adventure?
Yeah, it seemed, at least the one, so we got hands-on with one of the dungeon runs, which is cool because it's actually, you're not trying to defeat a boss, you're trying to escape from a dungeon, which is also something they've never done before. Yeah, which is cool. So basically there's a counter ticking down saying 10 turns to escape, 9 turns to escape, and you just have to survive for those turns.
Wow.
But at the end of each turn, they do a really cool thing where you make a choice, almost like an adventure game or like choose your own adventure.
Yeah.
Where I think we were playing as Reno Jackson, who's like the show business kind of, I'll do what I want kind of guy. And is like, oh, what's that well over there? It looks sparkly. And then you get 2 options, drink from the well and gain a mana crystal, or keep running and draw 2 cards. And so you have to make those choices, and then the other characters interact with you based on the choices you make and say, well, that was a dumb choice, don't do that, or that sort of thing.
Wow. That's interesting.
Yeah, it was really cool because it made it really replayable. We played through it. I played through it 3 times, I think, because you try different choices, and some of the choices are they feel like traps, right? Because it's like you're walking across a tightrope with the spikes underneath. Do you sprint, or do you go really carefully? And if you go really carefully, you take 5 damage. But if you sprint, you could take 0 damage or take 10 damage.
Oh.
So it's like, oh man, so you just sprint across. And there's even one, the craziest one was when you get to like turn 7, a big boulder has like fallen down and is starting to crush your dudes, like kind of like Indiana Jones,
right?
Where the boulder's coming behind you, and you get the option to skip a turn. But if you do, you encounter guards, which are like huge beefy minions that are going to show up on the board. And so there's this really interesting choice of like, okay, do I just try and sprint for the end and I could deal with those guards, or no, I'm too hurt, like I just have to take the long way.
Huh. Wow. And then now, how many did they say? Give a number for how many new cards? Which with every content update, they put out new cards, of course. Did they say how many are coming out with this?
Dude, they did better than that. They actually showed and talked about every single card that's coming out. So there's 45 of them, and they went one by one during the reveal and just showed all of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and there are some pretty crazy ones too. Have you heard about the Golden Monkey?
I heard about it on your recap, but I don't know if Bill did.
I read about it actually, and that seems kind of insane. Yeah.
I love how they worked. All the 4 characters are the 4 legendaries in the set, and each one of them have something interesting and unique. And the one that is like the brainchild, right? The one that knows all the maps and knows all that sort of stuff, actually puts a map in your deck. Then you draw that, and then you can get the artifact. And if you get the artifact, it has this crazy effect. It just feels so like cool old-timey adventure tomb exploring.
Wow. And anything can happen. Some stuff, like if you're running a Murloc deck, that is an amazing card.
Yeah, totally. Right? And don't forget, everything is awesome. Another card that's in there.
Oh man. So this did we talk what Golden Monkey does?
So what Golden Monkey does is when he comes into effect, so he's a 4-cost 6/6 with taunt, and his battle cry effect is turns every single card in your deck and in your hand into a legendary minion, which is just insane.
Wow. That's so every card in your hand becomes a legendary minion.
Yep. So it's weird because there are some bad legendary minions, but there are some obviously incredible ones, and you can pull off some really cool shenanigans if all of a sudden your hand is just filled with legendary minions. Because the thing with legendary minions is they're super specific, so they often have really interesting abilities that combo together very interestingly, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah, so I don't think that card will actually be good, just because of how long it takes to Golden Monkey, and so many like extreme decks are based around, I know exactly what I'm doing, I know exactly what's in my deck, and exactly what I'm going to do next. And even the Golden Monkey gives you all legendaries, it kind of just throws all of control out the window.
Right.
But man, that's going to be a fun card.
And that's kind of sort of a theme that I actually picked up on just reading some of the reactions to the new card list, and that is that it's changing a lot of play styles from being a very predictable, very kind of planned out deck into in order to get maximum effect, you've got to rely on some luck and randomness. Are you picking up on that as well?
So I actually don't buy into that very much. Okay. I think a lot of people are saying that because of Discover, which is the new mechanic, which is where, just to give an example, if a card said discover a mech, what it would do is when you play that card, you would get 3 mechs randomly chosen that appear on your screen, kind of like an arena, and you have to choose one of the cards, and that goes into your hand. And it reminds me more of like Spare Parts, which was in the Goblins versus Gnomes deck, which was actually, it face value, it looks random because it gives you a random card. But there's so much skill in Discover and choosing which 3 of those cards. You have to know so much about what your opponent is going to do and what you're going to be doing for the rest of the game to make the right choice there and then use it at the right time. I think it's actually extremely skill intensive, probably even more so than any previous mechanic.
That's going to make my brain explode.
Yeah, dude, because you're going to sit there and second guess every single choice.
Oh, and then second after the fact, right? Because
yeah, when you're like, if I just chosen that one.
Yeah, exactly. I am not the best. I'm not even a good Hearthstone player, and I do best when I play other people's decks and just try and do my best with that. But I can't think like 4 or 5 moves ahead. That's just not me.
Yeah, I mean, so did you guys watch the tournament at all? Like the final championship?
I watched a little bit of it.
Okay, I mean, what you're just talking about there, Chris, is what blew my mind. So can I do spoilers here? Or should I just say like Champion A?
Oh, you know what? Spoilers, we're going to give away who won. Skip ahead a bunch if you don't want to find out.
Good man. All right. So the Sweden, Ostkaka won, which is a ridiculous name, just for the record. But it was amazing because he played decks that were very similar to his opponent's decks. You could just tell that he played so many turns ahead. He had this uncanny ability where if he could have been cheating, I would have just assumed he was, because he was playing as if he knew exactly what was in his opponent's hand. It was incredible. I think it's a lot of testing the waters where he plays certain cards, see what they do in response to that, and then puts together information. But he played up against, in the finals, they had one of the exact same deck, another deck that was very similar, the same class but different style, and then a third random deck. And so on paper, those decks are all very similar, pretty close. But he just wiped the floor with him because he was just playing out of his mind. It was incredible.
Wow. That I just, again, it's like grandmaster chess players, right? There's just the strategy to play that is crazy.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought of. Well, I felt like I was watching a chess game with that. It was crazy.
And did you watch the poker players also did a game, right?
Oh,
a lot of hype about that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it. I was either in an interview or a different panel or something at the time. Did you watch it? How did it go?
No, I didn't see it. I was just curious. I knew I wanted to see it. I'll look it up after the fact if I can. But
yeah, because I remember I saw them talking about it and hyping it up, but I totally missed it.
Because Hearthstone is yes, it's about playing the other person, but it's such a non-visual thing. It's about testing out the actual cards, right? Whereas I find you know, when you watch poker or anything like that, it's so much more about playing the person, not the cards.
Yeah, I'd actually be really curious to know if they played in a place where they could look at each other, because that's how they're so used to doing it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyways,
that would be wild. Actually, I could just see the death stares crossing the table.
Yeah, dude, like they're playing their cards without even looking at the screen. Don't break eye contact. Just stare them down.
Or they've got the hoodie and the sunglasses on.
Yeah,
just looking at their screen. Okay, now you also there was a little bit of an R&R location in BlizzCon as well, right? Hearthstone themed.
Oh, dude, the Hearthstone Tavern. So this was actually my favorite BlizzCon I've been to yet, and I think it's mostly due to this Hearthstone Tavern. So this was the first time they'd ever done this. They basically took one of what would be like a presentation or meeting room kind of upstairs.
Yeah.
And they built it out in such a way, like they built like a fireplace, not a real fireplace, but fireplace with a big hearth and some walls that look like a WoW tavern essentially, and big wooden tables, a bar in the corner. They had I knew you would like this, Chris. They had a live band there playing all the Hearthstone songs.
Yeah, there they are.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Like at first, I didn't realize that they were actually there, because I was just sitting there. We were playing Hearthstone at the table, and I thought they were just playing like over the speakers Hearthstone music. I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
But the actual band was there playing, and they were really good. And then they played a bunch of the songs from World of Warcraft as well that play when you enter the tavern.
Right.
It was really, really cool.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I have watched your video of that a couple times. Yeah, I really like it. I thought it was fantastic.
So they had a lot of cool things to do in there too. So it wasn't just hang out and drink beer, although that was fantastic. They were hosting tournaments, but they were making it really friendly, where you could just go up and they'd sign people up into a group of 8 and then pair you off with your buddy. And it's nice because Hearthstone's on phone. Everyone just pulled out their phones. Like they didn't have to have computers set up. You just sit at a table and pull out your phone and start playing. And it's like, okay, best of 3, and you guys just decide between yourselves if you guys want to swap decks or keep the same. Whatever you guys want to do is fine. And so everyone was just like super friendly. Like my buddy Nick, who was with me, spent a little more time there, but he got, I think, 10 or 15 new friends on battle.net while he was sitting there.
Wow. Oh, that's
people
great.
People just came up and would start talking, and they'd be like, hey, how's it going? I'm Josh. Da 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 da. Like, okay, hi. I guess we're friends now. This is great.
That's pretty fantastic. So
I even sorry. One last thing. I even got a business card from somebody that they had printed up that just has their battle tag. Like, they're like, hey, do you play Hearthstone? I was like, yeah. He's like, cool, add me. Let's play sometime. I was like, this is a brilliant idea.
Actually, yeah, I was going to say that's actually brilliant. I can see how the gut reaction is, oh, this is really weird. But if you think about it, why not?
Yeah. I mean, especially at BlizzCon, I mean, everyone there has a battle tag, and that's how they'd prefer to be contacted anyways.
Right.
It was really cool.
Awesome.
And then
I keep moving on, but I don't mean to. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I got 2 more things for you. I'll make it so fast it'll make your brain hurt. 1, you could sign up to play a dev. They had a big center stage in the middle with 2 desks and computers and big screens so people behind could watch. And you could play the deck. You could choose any class. And if you beat them, you got like a special pin and a prize and that sort of thing.
Oh, that's cool. Did you?
Yeah. Oh, I did, Chris.
And did you win? Do you have a pin?
I did not. I did get a pin anyways.
Oh, good.
Because they were really nice.
Nice.
But yeah, I did not win. When I sat down, so actually it was really cool. So we signed up at 9:30 a.m. on Saturday for that. And we didn't get called. They would text you when it was your turn. We didn't get texted until 6 p.m. at night.
Wow.
Like that's how long the line was. And so by at the end of the day, it's really cool. A bunch of the Hearthstone devs went up there and just started playing with anybody that was there, like waiting.
Oh,
because
that's
they
cool.
they knew they wouldn't get through the list. And so people just went up there on their own time and just went around and played with everyone. So I played with someone like that who had gotten legendary several times. And when I sat down, the guy next to him was like, hey, I haven't seen this guy lose yet, and I've been here like 2 hours. I was just like, oh no, this is going to be bad.
Awesome. Yeah.
But it was fun. It was really fun. They were really nice.
That sounds like the Oculus line at PAX.
Yeah, I believe it.
And one more thing you said?
Oh, one more thing. They had the Annoyatron costume. Do you remember the commercials they've done for Hearthstone? So they've done a bunch of ones where they like have the characters fighting in real life in an arena. It's really funny. But they had like a display case with a full Annoyatron costume, and a lady that was there, she was dressed up, I think, as a mage. I can't remember exactly, but she had also built not a life size, but like probably a 2.5, 3 foot tall Annoyatron, like this robot with like buttons on, and she'd actually put pie in the middle of it because she thought that's what an annoying robot would have inside of it. It was awesome.
Huh.
There you go.
Cool. That's pretty cool. All right, so that was Hearthstone, but there was more than just Hearthstone that was going on there.
Yeah. So I mean, there was a lot of really cool stuff with World of Warcraft as well. I hadn't been playing World of Warcraft very much, but I actually just reinstalled and subscribed this morning because I got excited by all the stuff that was here. So I mean, I guess that means I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I may have also.
You did?
Maybe, yeah.
Dude, we can play together.
Yes, we can. Yes,
take on some dungeons.
Bill.
Come on, buddy.
Yeah. Let me get my credit card.
Yeah.
1 sec.
Yeah, so recently too they just released the intro for Legion.
Yeah, the video looked great.
Yeah, and I wonder about, because they always do this and release it so early. I mean, we're looking at closer to a year than not a year away from the release of this, or they're looking for September, right? And they're releasing and they're looking to go into beta before the end of the year. I mean, that always is crazy about betas, and nothing, to me, for a while at least, nothing is ever left unknown at the launch of an expansion, ever.
Yeah,
but that's true. Just the way they do things.
Yeah,
that's just the way they do
real fast. If I can backstep to Hearthstone for 5 seconds, I swear that's all.
Totally.
Can we talk about how crazy it is that they just announced that adventure, but it's launching in like 4 days?
Oh, hey, but look at when they announced the game, right? It wasn't that much longer after that before it was in beta.
It was still like 6 months. This is less than a week, Chris. That's crazy.
It wasn't 6 months till it was in beta, was it?
Yeah, it was a pretty long time.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah, wait, I can look back at my Happy Hearthstone episodes, but yeah, it was several months.
All right. Well, sorry. Yeah, that is crazy. That's not. But didn't they do this with the last one too? Wasn't it just a few weeks? It wasn't days, but it was just a few weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It blew my mind. Maybe it shouldn't have, but it did.
Okay, moving on. Warcraft.
Yeah. So I was really excited by some of the things they announced. So they gave a full list of all the weapons for each spec. So the way the expansion is working is you're heading up like a group of your class. Like I like playing rogue, so I'll be head of like a rogue group. And you're the leader because you have this awesome artifact. And each different talent spec in the game has a different artifact that they're collecting that kind of fits that personality. Right. So they showed them all off. Like the hunter one looks really cool. It's like this spear, the survival hunter, because now it's melee hunter with no pet, which sounds incredible. So I'm super excited.
Wasn't that what survival hunter was supposed to be at launch?
Yeah, so it always had a pet, but they had a lot of melee abilities, and they backed off of that over time. So I'm really excited to get back to that style.
That's awesome. What's your main again?
I mean, if I have a main, because I actually probably have like 3 mains.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm one of those crazy people. Rogue is always my heart and soul. I've played Rogue since the very beginning. But I've been super into Fury Warrior and actually a Beastmaster Hunter. But I'm definitely going to be switching to Survival Hunter.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. A quick question. I watched a lot of stuff about, before we get on to more details here, I watched a lot of stuff about Demon Hunter, and, it looks interesting. I am probably the least interested in any new class that I've ever been in WoW. In any expansion. Yeah. Why? I'm not super keen on the playstyle, I guess. I feel it's so fast-paced that I don't think I'd do a very good job.
See, that's what I love about it. I'm sure I'm not going to be good at it, but it looks so fun just because of how frantic it is.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
maybe that's
true.
just my inner rogue speaking, because I like spamming buttons.
Yeah, probably.
I was gonna say I'm not over the moon about the Demon Hunter, but I'm certainly intrigued. That's the style of play that I like to play as well too. So I'm curious to see how it translates compared to other games that have kind of got those Twitch classes.
Right.
Yeah.
Though
you guys see they're getting their own mount as well. I mean, come on, Chris, how can you resist that, buddy?
Is it a spider?
No, it's
because if it is, he's sold.
It doesn't matter if it's a spider. If it's a mount, I'm in.
It sounded like it was called a fell sign. It sounded like a fell tiger or something like that. It sounded pretty cool.
That's so cool. I did see a lot of play around. I was watching Towley stream rebroadcasted a little bit from BlizzCon and playing around with the double jump, the dash, and the glide.
Yeah.
And being able to get around with that. I mean, there's at least in that build, there was no cooldown or timer on the glide. You just hit spacebar while you were gliding and away you went.
That seems incredible. I hope that stays to life.
Yeah. So now one of the things that I don't know about Bill, but when I went through the latest expansion and went through all the zones, I didn't do everything because at a certain point I just kept on moving past the content. And then if I'd go back, then it's not as much fun when you just kind of blow through everything, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're looking to change that now, aren't they?
Yeah, this is crazy, right? So we're a little short on details here, so it's hard to say for sure, but it seems like this could be the biggest change in WoW since like cross-zone grouping, where they've suddenly made servers obsolete essentially in the open world. This is like the next giant change like that. It's zone scaling. So the idea is, it's weird. They insist that the world is scaling, not the players, because Guild Wars 2 does it by when you enter a low zone, your character gets nerfed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They've at least sort of implied, they didn't give real details, but they sort of implied that essentially when you fight a monster, it changes to match whatever you are, at least within a certain zone range. So the idea is you can do zones with, if I join way later than you guys, it's fine. I'll just go wherever you are and we can group up and still have a good challenge.
But if it's the world that's changing, and you got somebody who's level 109 and somebody who's level 99, that's a pretty big power difference.
Yeah, it's a huge power difference. That's why I'm really curious in the details.
How are they going to do it if it's the world that's scaling, not the people?
Here's my best guess. That is wild speculation based on absolutely nothing.
That's what we do.
Yeah, so if I were trying to design something that fits everything they're saying, I would want abilities that I cast, and it deals damage based on your level. So like the damage naturally scales like that, and incoming damage, like my armor scales on your level, like that sort of thing. I could see maybe that working.
So when the entire group gets hit by a fireball, one person's taking X damage because they're level 109, and the other person is taking Y damage because they're level 99. So it's the same spell, different damage because it's a different person.
Yeah, that's what I'm. And then it just
takes the lower level person maybe longer to, or they have I've been playing too much Guild Wars 2. A condition on them, a stat on them that they take more damage the lower level the player, or take less damage, right? And so so they're not actually changing or scaling anything. The abilities just are based on that's a great way to think about it.
Yeah, so again, this is pure speculation, but that seems like if that's possible, that seems like the best way to do it that doesn't involve making 50 versions of every NPC in the game or whatever.
Josh, the amount of baseless speculation that you are putting into this podcast makes you fit right in.
Okay, good.
That's perfect.
I just want to fit in. That is my only goal, Chris. Tell me what next to say next. I'll say it.
Well, before we just go crazy here. Now, baseless speculation. From what I've been reading here, it looks like the zone scaling is going to be applied only to the new zones that are coming in with the expansion. That this isn't something that's being spread worldwide. Like suddenly the Barons aren't going to become end game content or anything like that. That's accurate, right? That
Correct.
It is just expansion.
So far,
focused?
that's all they've said. Yeah.
Okay.
That's cool.
Because that would be mind shattering. That was my first thought, was that, oh man, that reinvents the entire game.
Yeah, that's almost too scary. Like, where do you how do you know where to go at that point?
Right.
Or it doesn't matter. Go wherever you want.
Your world is too scary for me, Bill. I reject it.
Follow the story.
Follow the story.
Follow the story.
Yeah. So, and the other thing that I'm really excited is the emphasis on classes that they added, because class has always been like the most like core part of the character to me. Like, sure, my character's a troll. Yes, my character's a goblin, but they're a rogue first. Like, and those few class specific quests we've had in the past were so fun because they're so unique. Like, my rogue one is go out and pickpocket certain people and then use that and sap people and do this. Like, it feels so cool because you're like, no other class could be doing this. I'm the best.
Yeah.
I say that all the time when I'm playing games. It's okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, did they give any more information about the class halls, are they called?
Oh, yeah, the class halls. Yeah, so those sound really cool. So I didn't know a whole lot about those going into BlizzCon. I'd done some research, but not a ton. And it's really, really cool. So this is basically going to be the new quote unquote like capital city. It's going to be based on your class rather than faction. But they're each going to have some unique functionality, which makes it really interesting to me. Where like druids are going to have portals that can teleport you to certain zones around the world like druids do. Warriors are going to have a dueling arena where you can actually like do gladiator fights inside of it. And hunters are going to have a flight network because they have the eagles or the bats or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So those are the only three they revealed, but I love that idea that each class is not just going to look different, but actually do something different as well. That's really cool.
So they'll be faction-based and then class-based.
Not faction-based at all.
No.
Yeah,
so okay.
Rogue. I'll be hanging as a troll rogue. I'll be hanging alongside alliance rogues in there.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. They're really trying to put an emphasis on faction is no longer important. It's all about leading. You have rallied all the rogues of Azeroth together.
Right. Wow.
Yeah.
That's kind of
Don't worry,
crazy.
I'll be spitting on those gnomes like crazy. Don't you worry.
Hey, did we notice that there was a gnome in this intro movie? Well, okay. So there was a gnome copter in the distance, and there's got to be a gnome piloting it, which means that there was a gnome in the movie, right?
I think you're stretching that a little far, Chris.
I most certainly am. But I stand by my comment.
That's the best hope gnomes have so far.
That most certainly is.
This baseless speculation brought to you by Chris at MMO Reporter.
Where is it here? I'm going to try to find it here so I can show our wonderful live viewers the gnome copter, because it's there. It's there. Okay, here we go. We're watching that part. If you go to the live stream, you'll be able to see it here.
Let's be honest, Chris. I think a goblin hijacked that plane and is probably flying it.
No, it's a gnome. It's
there.
Right
or
there.
remote control.
Right
it's
there.
a drone.
It's a drone. Gnomes have gone modern.
It's total. Look, that's totally a gnome in a WoW cinematic.
No,
that's
there. I'm totally with Bill now. They probably put a fake gnome in there like a dummy to fool everyone else, but that is definitely a drone.
No, no, it's right there. You can see, and it banks just right there. There you go. Or you can go back just a little bit. See, there we go.
I love that you're basing it on the fact that the plane banks, as if like gnomes have a special way of banking their planes. Like, oh. I'd recognize that turn radius anywhere.
Oh,
it's the gravitational pull. He can tell the pilot weighs 42 pounds. So.
That's right.
Yeah. It's based on math. It's science. It can't be disproven.
Oh man. So but there you go. Thank you everyone for agreeing that gnomes are in this cinematic.
For the record, I don't think we agreed to that, but we can move on. That's fine.
All right. And then you also mentioned before they're changing transmogs.
Yeah, so this is cool. So this feels like, so there's a lot of things that Blizzard has put into WoW where it feels like the first iteration of it, and then they're building up to something next. Kind of like the followers in Warlords of Draenor. You saw the potential. You're like, this is really cool, but they could do so much more with this, and I'm sure they are. So that's kind of how I've always felt with transmog, because it's always been kind of clunky, and so this is like the next step, the pinnacle, right? So DC Universe Online, disclaimer, I work for Daybreak now, which makes the game. I always loved their costume system. That was one of my favorite things about the game when it launched way back when, and it's just so cool. I wish that every single game had something like that.
Yeah, disclaimer, you were a fanboy for DCUO before you worked for them.
That is true.
I can attest to that 100%.
I gave that game MMO of the year when I was at
yes,
PC Gamer the same year that SOTOR came out. I liked it more than that.
And this is a personal opinion, but everyone makes mistakes. All right,
wow.
I know, I'm harsh, horrible person. You can hate me all you want.
All right, well, one thing I don't think you can disagree with me on was their costume system was awesome, which is very similar to what this Transmog 2.0 looks like, which is awesome. It's going to be so cool. Basically, every item you collect in the game has an appearance. And whenever you earn that item in any way or use it, so you will unlock that appearance. And it's just basically stored in a database. You can look through, okay, here are all the shoulder pieces I've ever used and have ever earned. Which one do I want to look like today? And you just select from a menu. And you can save different outfits. So you can build one. You're like, this one makes me look like a cool soldier. This one makes me look like a hip hop star or whatever. And so you have these all saved. So just by clicking a single button, you can swap out all that stuff without ever having to worry about like putting items in the transmog bank and then pulling them out and applying it. It's just, so easy. Just if you've ever used it, you can wear it.
And did they talk about any specific resource to change costumes or to set costumes or anything like that?
You mean like a cost?
Yeah, like are they going to have a specific resource, or are they going to have like, is it going to be a gold sink or what?
I didn't hear anything about that. It wouldn't surprise me if it was a gold sink, but I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that, so I would guess not.
Okay. All right. So, moving on from there, you were in the audience for the world reveal of the Warcraft trailer, were you not?
Yeah, I was. So
how was the audience, like, did the audience know it was coming up next, or did they just kind of throw it at you right away?
So they knew for like 10 seconds, because they said, all right, because it was really one of the first big reveals of the show during the opening ceremony. And they did say like, all right, you guys excited about the Warcraft movie? Here's the trailer. And people were pumped, dude, which is kind of be expected, right? This is the target audience. Like, if these people don't like the movie, it's hopeless. Like, but they loved it.
And now here's the question. Have you seen it again since you saw it with that crowd?
Oh, most definitely. I watched it this morning. Okay. I made my wife watch it as soon as she was up.
Has your opinion changed at all? Because I know watching a reveal like that in a big crowd can color your opinion of something. Are you still, I know you thought very positively of the trailer. Are you still feeling as pumped as you were the first time you saw it?
I am. Because I wasn't through the moon pumped. I'm just not a very excitable guy in that way. I was extremely skeptical going into it, because I've watched a lot of game movies, and I've been burned many, many times. So I in that way, I'm very much an old, jaded man. Like, I'm not ready for my heart to be broken again, so I was keeping it protected. But after this trailer and watching it a second time, I'm ready to be optimistic. I'm excited about this movie. I think it'd be really cool. The keys for me was it wasn't goofy or cartoony in any way. Because as much as I like goblins and WoW, they're one of my favorite races. I think that would be really weird in a fantasy movie, to try and balance that goofiness and cartooniness with grit. The closest comparison I got heavy Lord of the Rings vibes from it, right? Like just that kind of gritty where they've got dirt on their face, they look worn, but they still look very heroic and fantastical, like a fantasy world.
Yeah.
It looks really promising. Like the orcs look incredible.
Well, they look almost exactly like they do, like almost refined versions of what comes up in the cinematics that we've seen recently. So I was impressed with that. But just getting back to the goofiness bit, I think it's that was a point that was really concerning me as well, because it's the kind of thing where, I mean, a video game or in the MMO, it's almost necessary that you've got that kind of comic relief, because there's such a huge scope of everything going on between story and player interactions and that kind of thing. In a movie, you can't be goofy 1 minute and serious the next. It just destroys that 2 hours of experience that you're getting, and it's too quick a shift. So I'm kind of glad that they decided to apparently go with a serious tack to this, because I've said to Chris many times, the lore in World of Warcraft is so deep and most people don't actually appreciate it. I think there's so many places they can go.
Yeah, now, I mean, it's
go ahead.
Sorry. It's really exciting. So we watched we actually got into this like exclusive panel upstairs. It was super cool. There was only one other person recording it, so we recorded that, so we'll have the video for that, which I'm really excited about. But one of the questions they asked was about the potential for a sequel. And they very carefully danced around it and didn't answer it. But you just have to know, if this movie does well, like, even if you just look at World of Warcraft, don't even take the books, the comics, the Warcraft games, I can immediately think of plots for like 10 more movies, like off the top of my head. You could go anywhere with this.
Yeah, you could do random searches on WoW Wiki, and you'd probably have you'd have a whole 9 movie series right there. Yeah,
dude, like imagine the Arthas story, like that whole thing. Yeah, like Warcraft 3, like I almost cried watching those cinematics, and that was like 2 minutes.
And that's 2 movies right there. You've got Warcraft 3, The Fall of Arthas, and then the next movie is you do the Wrath of the Lich King storyline.
Yeah.
Right? So, or something like that. Now, one question for you. I noticed right away the height similarity between the humans and the orcs. And I pulled up the scene here for people to see on our YouTube and live stream. I always thought orcs were noticeably bigger and taller than humans were. And yet in this shot, they look nearly the same height.
So I don't actually know on the lore side of things. I know orcs hunch a bunch. So their characters have always been very broad and wide, but I don't think they've ever been necessarily taller than humans.
Okay. Maybe maybe that was just what I was bringing to the visual of it.
Yeah, and they might be if they stood up perfectly straight, but they always hunch with like their legs kind of crouched and their shoulders down.
Yeah, the shot I'm looking at is the one where the orc and the human are walking towards each other, right? With the half-orc girl, and the orc is standing very tall and straight and is maybe even a little shorter than the human.
Interesting.
I don't know. But that's just what I brought to it, and that's really means nothing. What else came out of that panel? Any other chunks of goodness? Yeah,
so there's really cool. So Garona is that orc lady they just referenced. Get it straight, Chris. There will be a quiz.
Garona, got it.
Garona. So she's half orc, half human. And they kind of talked about how she's going to be at like the heart of the story and kind of be a main character, which I didn't really get from the trailer, because it looked like a lot of the big orcs clashing with each other and whatever. But she's going to be the one that's navigating both worlds, obviously, because she's half orc, half human, and trying to bring them together. And the story will be following her a fair amount, which I think is going to be really cool.
I think didn't it get revealed that she's actually not?
Spoiler.
What?
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. This part has been edited due to spoilers that Bill decided to share with the podcast audience.
Dun, dun, dun.
Spoilers.
Wow, dude. So
what is she then?
Yeah.
Spoilers.
I know, right?
Huge spoilers.
Oh, you jerk!
Oh,
you asked.
Say that? That's messed up.
Dude!
You asked.
Bill.
Sorry. No,
Chris,
apparently
you
that was...
and put a big spoiler warning on that.
Yeah, holy cow.
Jeez. You asked. I said it was getting kind of spoilery. Oh, now I feel bad.
Now my
other feeling hurts.
Both of them.
So, anyway, But yeah, I mean, she's an amazing character, like going all the way through. That's actually, when you talk about getting into kind of a grittiness in a serious movie, Garona is about as troubled and torn a character as you can possibly hit in the Warcraft universe.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be fun.
Now,
yeah,
here's
I'm really
the other
excited.
question. Is that Draenei that we see in the trailer as well? In the shot where the person is running up the steps? I'm putting that up now.
Oh, it probably is, because I thought that looked really weird for human.
Right, it looks Draenei, right? Or like the first thing it made me think of was Dalaran, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, that could totally be. If you look at that, that's totally looks like Draenei architecture. Looks like the ship when you start your Draenei character and the crashed ship that's there, right?
Yeah, I mean, it could be something like maybe some Draenei showed up on the planet too, but they teamed up with the humans or something.
Well, but if you go into WoW lore, Draenei is the home of the orcs, right?
Yeah, they were on the same planet, so it makes sense that they would probably be fleeing it too if it's getting destroyed.
Yeah, although that looks like a human running up the steps, not Draenei.
It definitely, yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Maybe they teamed up, or like a small group of them showed up and are teaming up with humans.
Okay, and no, we're being picky here. If you look straight across from the little platform that the guy is on, the stairs, the guy across the way totally looks like little blue skin, glowy eyed. And look at the other people around that platform. Their eyes are glowing a little bit. Little Draenei glow, maybe.
Okay.
Look at that really, really closely, like super closely.
I mean, yeah.
Anyways,
I'm sure someone's gone frame by frame by the trailer. We'll have to find somebody.
So far down the rabbit hole here, folks. We're coming up for air. Okay. And then were any of the cast at that panel?
Yeah. So they actually had, I'm guessing a number like 8. They had basically all the main characters, including the lady that played Garona was there. It was actually really cool. They seemed to all really get along really well. Like, they were joking. A couple times people got up and like snapped the necks, quote unquote, of someone else that was either talking too long or saying something they weren't supposed to be saying. One of the guys was joking about throwing horse poop at everybody on the set, and everyone was laughing and like, yeah, he did that a bunch. It looks really cool. And several of them really were into Warcraft and had played the game a bunch. Or like the guy that plays Gul'dan, he didn't play, but his wife has played the whole time. And so she sat him down and was like, okay, if you're going to play Gul'dan, here's everything you need to know. And so, it was really reassuring, because I'm sure there are many actors and actresses that could care less about Warcraft and wouldn't want to learn about, some fantasy geek world or whatever. But these people seem to really respect it, which is really promising.
Don't screw this up or you're sleeping on the couch.
Yeah, seriously.
Awesome. That sounds super duper exciting. Really looking forward to seeing more about this movie. And I'm so that's Draenei right there. Like, that's totally. Anyways, moving on. Let's talk really quickly about our sponsors, Audible. Go to audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter, and you can get yourself a free month of Audible service, which will get you 1 free audiobook credit. Go check them out, audiblepodcast.com/MMO Reporter, for all your audiobook needs. And, of course, Doghouse Systems. Go to doghousesystems.com. Use the coupon code MMO Reporter when you buy your brand spanking new Doghouse Systems computer, which that's what you want to get. And you will get a free 120 gig SSD along with what comes with the computer that you order. So doghousesystems.com/MMO Reporter. Or sorry, doghousesystems.com, and use the coupon code MMO Reporter.
Now that I've tried to talk to you and make you understand, you can't out-threat the tank and just pew and think you'll last the fight and anger me. Wipe the group and never clear the rain. More than deeds is
All right, moving on to Heroes of the Storm. Now, Josh, had you ever heard that song before? Our Little More Than Deeps?
I have not, no. I'm kind of sad you're interrupting it, Chris. I was enjoying it. It was like a little concert.
There you go. All right, Heroes of the Storm. I think what we really need to start off with is a little Cho'Gall. Because really, that's the one thing that jumped out at me more than anything else. I don't know about you, but yeah, that was it for me.
Yeah, dude.
What about you?
It kind of blew my mind. Like, so I've enjoyed Heroes a lot, but it's been criticized for doing things, you know, too safe or doing things, you know, too easy. And this is like insane. There are plenty of like League of Legends, Dota 2. Dota, the original, have been making heroes for what, a decade at least?
Yeah.
And none of them have even tried to do this because it sounds too crazy. This is so for people who don't know, Cho'Gall is a two-headed ogre, and it is one champion or one hero, excuse me, that is played by two players. One person is Cho, which is the left head, and they control where you move, and then have some abilities. And then Gall is basically like a shadow mage that's attached to him. And so you can't control where you move, but you're just casting spells off of each other.
Wow.
It is really, really fun. So my buddy Nick was there, and we played it. And there's just so many moments where Cho throws out a bomb, but Gall has to be the one to detonate it.
Oh.
So I'm like, Nick, I'm throwing out the bomb. I'm throwing out the bomb, Nick. And I throw it, and it just keeps bouncing. I'm like, Nick, you got to detonate that bomb. And he's like, I'm doing something else. Don't worry about it. But it was really fun. There are just so many cool things you can do because you're basically two heroes. You're as powerful as two heroes.
Right.
So you can just go up and like start soloing camps and just merc camps. Just take them out yourself. No big deal. We actually halfway through the game. And if you want the true experience of Cho'Gall, I highly recommend anyone does this. Halfway through the game, I tapped Nick on the shoulder, was like, we got to swap seats. And so we got up and swapped and started playing the other one. And of course, I didn't tell him what any of my abilities did. I didn't know what any of his did. And we just start a team fight immediately and just get wrecked. But it's just so fun to play.
That's awesome. They also announced a couple of new heroes as well. More new heroes, didn't they?
Yeah. So, oh man, I'm not going to remember all of them. I know Tracer is coming in from Overwatch, which is incredible. Because it just makes sense, right? Overwatch already has 21 heroes over there.
Right.
Yeah, start bringing them over. That's awesome. So Tracer is the one that can leap forward and then teleport back in time. So that's going to be very interesting to see how they do that in Heroes of the Storm.
They also did Greymane too, right? The
Worgen. Yeah, that looked really cool. He had a move where he was in Worgen form attacking, and he basically leapt backwards, transformed into human midair, pulled out his pistol and shot it, and then landed on the ground. It looked really cool. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. And then, what was the other one? The Lunara, right?
Oh, the Dryad. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are weird because those are the Dryads in WoW. They always kind of seem like sorority girls. Like whenever they had dialogue, that's how they played them. It was just kind of funny, and like their voice is so high pitched and almost like Valley Girlish. So they're there in the game. It's gonna be fun.
What else came out of Heroes of the Storm?
So they have arena mode, which is a new map that they're coming out. So a lot of the other games like League of Legends, Dota, they have like a all random, all middle sort of map where you get a random hero and then you just fight in a very small map. And Heroes of the Storm, this is like their take on it, but again, it's pretty clever. You don't level up, you come out with full level. The way it does is they choose 3 heroes, and I can't remember if it's 3 for each side or just 3 for everybody. And then every person gets to choose one of those. But you can all choose the same one if you want, or you can all do different ones. So they showed the example they showed in the cinematic was 5 Illidan's versus 5 Illidan's, and it was just crazy. It looks really fun. It's a nice kind of twist on the standard random mode.
So how do you think the esports community is going to respond to it? Do you think this is going to be a hit, or
oh yeah, definitely,
is there too much randomness to it?
No, so at least, and I don't know how Blizzard's going to play it, but in other games this mode is more seen as like when you need a break, you go play this mode. So no one takes it seriously at all, and it's nice just to have like a side activity in the game.
Yeah.
So esports players usually really like it because they're the one that have to play this game 15 hours a day or whatever.
Yeah.
So this is the thing that when they're kind of a little burned out, they can just go play this for fun for a while.
Right. Cool. Yeah, and we're seeing the trailer now. 5 Illidan's versus 5 Illidan's.
Yeah, I mean, man, Blizzard's cinematics department is so cool because that trailer, just the way like it's like slot machined on the wall popping up, it just looked so cool.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. I wish I played more Heroes of the Storm. I just don't have the time to, and I like it because I think it's one of the most casual friendly games without being a casual game.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Just the way they've got their matchmaking set up, I never feel like I am ruining somebody else's day because I'm not that great of a player.
Yeah, and actually, I wanted to play this morning, but I was watching my kid. So I didn't want to do a game where I would be letting people down, so I just played against easy bots, and I had a good time just playing it. And when my kid was running to go put his finger in the electrical socket, I could just get up from my computer and not feel worried about it. It was nice.
You know they make covers for that, right?
I know. It was actually our surge protector that we have on the ground, and there's one open. And for whatever reason, because he wants to kill himself every single day, that's the only thing he wants to touch in the whole house.
Totally understand. Yeah. Totally.
Well, you got to stop hiding your candy in there. That'll solve that problem.
Probably. Yeah. All right, let's talk about the last big bunch of news that we've got here is Overwatch.
Yeah, this was really surprising to me. So I'm not in the beta. I know the beta launched last week, but I've never gotten to play Overwatch. They announced it last year. I kind of knew what it was. I'd read some stuff about it, watched a few videos, but man, the fidelity in those levels, like that's what really stuck out to me. I know it seems like a small thing, but it's so cool when you're like, one of the levels we were playing in was like basically like a kind of futuristic shopping mall. And every single door you go into is like a little store, and there's stuff, there's racks, and there's a desk with all this stuff on it. And like, it just feels so real. It's obviously in a fantasy world, but so realistic in that way.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Now, did you get a chance to, you had said you hadn't played it before, but so you got to play it here. What character did you play as?
I played Diva a bunch, which was one of the new ones. Her lore is that she was a pro gamer, and when like monsters, I don't remember what the big bad in Overwatch is, but some sort of monsters attacked all over the world. But in Korea, it came out of the ocean as a giant like Godzilla type monster.
Right.
And so they took these pro gamers and built them like anime pink mech suits, and then they fought them. And so she has this awesome pink mech suit, and you can see her hands in the front of the screen on like joysticks controlling it as you're playing. But it's this really cool mix of, she has like a rocket pack, so she can move really fast and kind of charge in a direction. But as soon as she starts shooting her guns, which are 2 giant Gatling guns with no ammo restrictions and no reload times, which is incredible. And you're firing 2 of them at once. As soon as you start doing that, you basically stop moving. Like, you can move at a crawl. So it's this really cool mix of move really fast to get where you need to go, and then just set down camp and destroy.
You know, go ahead.
I'm feeling Glitter Boy from Rifts, Chris.
Yeah. Oh, totally. Totally. Yeah. And you know, the one thing too that's really cool about this is you've seen some games that have moved in the direction of MOBA-fying and stuff like that, or shooter-ifying some MOBAs, right? Like Gigantic.
Yeah.
Has some of the characters very much feel like a shooter type of mechanic, more so than a MOBA mechanic, with the metagame sort of being MOBA-ish. And this seems to go with that whole hog, right? This is a shooter that's a MOBA at the same time. Now, did you get a chance to talk to anyone from Overwatch at all, or did you just play it?
I did not get a chance to talk with Overwatch at all, which was a bummer. And one thing I do want to clarify, though, it's not, I wouldn't actually qualify it as a MOBA because there are no NPCs, and you're not leveling up at all.
Okay.
It's closer to TF2.
Oh, okay.
Team Fortress 2, yeah.
See, the way that I meant by MOBA is the way that the characters are set up, the way you've got a whole bunch of different characters that are balanced against each other, and also the action set that the characters have, right?
Yeah.
It really looks like they've got the skill shots and the ultimates and that sort of stuff. Is that the case from playing it, or not so much? It's more like TF2
absolutely.
now.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's definitely like that, because you have like a couple basic abilities and an ultimate, essentially.
Right.
And it's kind of cool. The way your ultimate is almost like in Street Fighter, like the turbo bar, where you have to power it up through attacks and before you can use it.
Right.
So actually, Diva has this. Her ultimate is she can set her mech to explode and launch out of it backwards. But she has to. The way she gets her mech back is she has to shoot enough people with her gun without dying to call in a new one.
Right.
So it's this really intense moment where you back out, you let your mech go, and if the mech kills a ton of people, you can instantly summon a new one. But if not, all you've got is this one super light pistol that you're like dodging and weaving, trying to please get my mech, please get my mech, please get my mech, yes. And then you dive in. It has this awesome animation where the mech lands in front of you, and she basically sprints and like almost like a swimmer, like dives right into it, and it all closes around her, and she starts going. It's really cool.
Your Titan is ready.
Yes.
It's like Titanfall. That's awesome. I have to say I am quite excited by this. I think my favorite shooters have been Team Fortress 2 and Titanfall. And this definitely has that vibe to it, where even though I suck, I still feel like if I pick the right character, I'll still be able to contribute.
Yeah, that was the thing that impressed me most. Was I'm terrible at shooters, and that's why I normally don't play a lot of them, because it's not very fun to just lose repeatedly.
Yeah.
But I had a blast, even though I was losing, because there's still moments for heroics where, like, I got a triple kill with that mech detonation, and even though our team lost the game, I still felt really good about it.
Right. That's really cool. And they also announced release and consoles at BlizzCon.
Yeah.
That was not unexpected, but at the same time unexpected. For me at least. Bill, what did you think? Like, were you like? It's not that I was surprised. It's just it's like, oh, awesome.
I mean, from an industry-wide thing, I'm not surprised at all. I'm always a little bit surprised whenever Blizzard lands anything on a console, because it just feels out of their element. Even though, I mean, in my head, I know, of course, they've got the resource to do this, and it only makes sense to try to get there. But yeah, no, it'll be a good thing. Shooters on the console, it used to be, I still remember back to, I mean, this is me dating myself, but you go back to the original Halo days, and the notion of trying to play a shooter on a silly little analog console compared to keyboard and mouse was just the most idiotic thing you ever thought of in your life. And now it's standard. Like, that's just the way you play. So, no, the short answer to that is no. I'm not overly surprised, but maybe slightly surprised. 8% surprised. How about that?
Awesome. I think both Legion and Overwatch are ready for pre-order, right?
Yeah.
I think they just announced that. Yeah. I was going to mention when we were talking about World of Warcraft, between all the different WoW expansions that I'm going to buy, I'm going to be able to get all the different classes up to max level through the boosts that you get with the expansion.
Oh, nice. There you go. Even better.
Because I got my Paladin up with the last one, and now this one I'll probably get my Gnome Priest up. And then I'll have a Demon Hunter, because they start up near there, right? So I'll play one even though I don't love it. But
I have a problem that I have to admit right now.
Yes.
Because I was harassed for it a little bit at the Hearthstone Tavern by Nick, my friend.
Okay. We're supportive here.
Thank you.
We'll help you out.
I still have... So it's a multi-pronged problem. One problem, many symptoms. So I got harassed at the Hearthstone Tavern because I have like 20,000 gold that I'm just sitting on.
Oh, God.
But I don't want to spend it because I think I may need it for something. Like, what if they put something in I can only buy with gold, right? I don't know. So I just don't want to spend it, right?
Because you just do all your dailies, right?
Yeah, I do all my dailies, and I bought a bunch of stuff in beta, and when they did that, they wiped all the cards and paid you back in gold. So I got a ton of gold during the beta, and I just never respent all of it.
And wasn't it more than a 1-to-1 when they paid you back? Wasn't it like 2-to-1 or something?
It was close. So yeah, it was interesting. So because you could buy the $40 bundle and get the card packs at a cheaper price, they gave you the full gold price back. So if you bought the big bundles, you actually did end up getting way more gold back, which is why I did it. It was such a good deal. But yeah, so and then in WoW, I still have my level 100 upgrade because I'm terrified to use it on somebody because I may want it on somebody else. I just can't use it. I'm going to go to my grave with like 100 free 100 WoW characters and not use any of them.
But have you leveled one character up to max level? Did you level any more?
Yeah, I think I have like 7 or 8.
Really? Holy cow.
Dude. So back in the day, I think like, I don't know, probably Cataclysm was when I had the most. I probably had like 12 characters at max level. And over time, it's kind of dropped off a bit.
This is what everybody needs to know about Josh, is that he is a leveling machine. I think it was Cataclysm, and I was trying to keep up to you when I joined your guild. And yeah, because that was my goblin.
Yeah.
And I tried to keep up, and after a while, it's like, no way I'm going to be able to keep up with him. Holy crap, how the bleep did he get up there? Like, I'd log off one day and you know, I'd be within a couple of levels, and then I log on and you're like 30 levels higher. Like, what the hell?
I am not, or sorry, I have some skills in this life, Chris. Very few of them match my leveling skill. I am, for whatever reason, I am very good at that.
You're a beast. You
Thanks.
really are. You are a beast.
Can I record that later just so I could use it like for my ringtone, just for a confidence boost?
You are a beast.
And everyone's looking at me weird.
Just repeats. You are a beast.
Yeah, it's like a motivational tape, maybe.
Are a beast.
Just record it on a cassette tape. Send it down to me. I'll put it in my car. Yeah.
Hey,
cassette tape.
You know what? Funny thing, and I've got it right here in front of me. I'm holding it in my hand. I played a game at PAX called Call of the Starseed, and this was on the HTC Vive.
Okay.
And they gave you, as part of the press kit, a cassette tape.
What?
A cassette tape with a message on it. One of my crew ended up tracking down a tape player and played it, and it was a message in character from one of the characters in the game talking about make sure that you wait for this particular date and news when it's going to come out. I don't know what the date was, but it was an actual tape. So if
incredible.
I do want to send it to you, I have a tape on which to put it.
I think I technically still have a stereo that can play it, so we'll make it work.
There you go. All right, last couple things here. There was a little bit of StarCraft 2 news, but you didn't get a chance to play it. I do want to send people to Harry Hall's Day 2 recap of BlizzCon, where he did talk about his experiences getting to check out StarCraft 2 and what they're doing with Legacy of the Void. I think some of the story sort of stuff that they're doing with that, because it was talking about Nova waking up in a certain... a room, and she had to get out, and et cetera, et cetera. And if you also watch, and I'm gonna pause it right now, if you look at the daily recap, there is someone in full Tauren gear, a cosplayer walking behind him during the video. It's good timing. It's actually a huge costume. Huge. Did you happen to see a huge Tauren at...
Is it the Elite Tauren Chieftain?
No.
Oh.
No.
Okay, I saw the Elite Tauren Chieftain who had actually 4 different guitars strapped to his back, but I didn't see this guy.
It wasn't, no, it's an axe, and not like a guitar axe.
Okay.
And like a club.
Oh, no, I missed it.
Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, go check that out if you want to find out more about StarCraft. Harry Hall talks about it there. I'll put a link in the show notes. And no, absolutely nothing about Diablo, huh?
Yeah, it was weird. So they had a demo station where like press, and because I was there for Happy Hearthstone and for MMO Reporter, so I got to go to the cool press area, which was nice. They had a room in there, and it was actually there was like all these demo stations for like Overwatch and stuff, and then just 2 little Diablo computers in the corner. I think they just aren't ready to announce anything, and there was so much else going on. It's like, why force it? Like people, we had enough to talk about already.
Yeah,
that there seems to be a cycle to that. There's always something that gets missed in the Blizzard stable. That's in any given year, there's always one IP that's being a little bit left behind or is just early in their cycle or whatever. So
yeah, so this was Diablo's turn. Yeah, that's all right. They've been big for like the past 3 years. They deserve a year off.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, that is our show for this week. Bill, if people want to get a hold of us, how would they do that?
There's a bunch of ways. They can head over to our website, MMOreporter.com. They can send us an email, MMO.reporter@gmail.com. They can find us on Facebook, Facebook.com/MMOreporter. Can tweet at any of the MMO reporters, either at MMO_reporter for Chris, at Harry Hall for Harry Hall, at Leonor for Leonor, at MMO Bill for yours truly. And I bet you could tweet at Josh, and he's going to tell us right now exactly where we can tweet at him.
At J Augustine. And I would love to talk with you.
Perfect. Give us a call. Speaking of talking to us, give us a call at 616-666-6778. Leave us a voicemail and tell us your thoughts on life, the universe, and BlizzCon. You can visit us on YouTube, youtube.com/MMO Reporter Network. You can visit us on Patreon, patreon.com/MMO Reporter. If you want to throw us a few pennies every month or so, help us keep the lights on and everything like that, that would be awesome. And if you're not a Patreon type person, head over to MMOreporter.com/support. And there's a few other ways that you can help us out there if you like.
Hey, Josh, it was an absolute pleasure having you on the show this week.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It was really fun. I was really glad to get to go to BlizzCon and cover it for you guys, so thanks for sending me.
Absolutely. Anytime. Bill, as always, fun to chat with you about any sort of game.
Yeah, if you want to send me to BlizzCon too, I'd be happy to take care of that for you. Thank you very much, Josh, though. That was an awesome rundown of everything there. I really enjoyed that.
Thanks. Yeah, it was really fun. It was great talking with you guys, as always.
Awesome. Well, thanks to everyone. A few people came in and hung out with us in the chat room. That's always appreciated. And thanks to everyone who has watched the video on YouTube or downloaded the podcast. Thanks to all of you. You're fantastic. We hope that you listen to next week's show as well. But most importantly, we hope to see you in game.
Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at. Don't forget about your ults you need to cherish. Each and every little character you've got, no matter what level they're at.
Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.